If you're proud of being nice, keep listening, because what I'm about to say will either offend you or free you. Most of what you call kindness isn't kindness. It's fear, wearing good manners. And the cost isn't just that people take you for granted. The cost is the slow death of your self-respect one swallowed "it's fine" at a time. Here's the psychology fact that's going to hurt. People don't disrespect you because you're unlucky. And it's not because the world is cruel. They disrespect you because you're harmless. You tell yourself you're a nice guy. Agreeable, easygoing, low maintenance, the peacemaker. You avoid conflict, put others first, and call it virtue. But here's the truth your brain fights to hide, because it would force you to change. You're not nice. You're afraid. If you relate to any of this, stay with me, because by the end, you'll see the hidden mechanism that keeps you trapped, and the exact switch that turns a nice guy into a grounded man people naturally respect. The trap starts with a lie that sounds noble, but it's quietly destroying you. I'm just trying to keep the peace. Psychologically, what you're doing has a name, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. People-pleasing, conflict avoidance, the nice guy syndrome. It shows up in your relationships, your career, your friendships, your family, and even your body, because your nervous system learns to treat honesty like danger. Stay until the end, because the final part is a simple one-sentence boundary that instantly exposes whether you're being respected or simply tolerated. But first, you need to understand the harsh truth most people never tell the nice guy. The nice guy thinks he's choosing love, but what he's actually choosing is safety, and he confuses the absence of conflict with the presence of connection. He smiles when he feels disrespected. He says no worries when he's angry, and he calls his silence maturity, even as resentment builds like pressure behind a wall. He over-explains, he over-apologizes, and he performs emotional labor as a way to earn a place in other people's lives, like affection is a wage he can work for. He avoids the difficult conversation not because he's calm, but because the moment tension appears, his mind whispers, "If they get upset, you will be abandoned." And if you think that sounds dramatic, watch how your body reacts when you imagine saying a clean, simple no, because your chest tightens like you're about to be punished. That is not kindness. That is conditioning. And it's why the nice guy often feels invisible, even when he's constantly there for everyone. Here's the first pattern interrupt. The more you try to be harmless, the more people feel they can handle you any way they want. Because deep down, people can sense when your niceness is not a gift, but a strategy. Now comes the truth bomb, and it separates actual kindness from the nice guy mask. The nice guy is often running a hidden contract. The contract is never spoken out loud, but it's felt in your behavior, and it sounds like this. If I'm good, if I'm easy, if I never cause problems, you must love me, choose me, reward me. That contract is why you feel furious when you do everything right and still get ignored, because you weren't giving freely, you were bargaining. And the cruel part is that bargaining for love doesn't work, because desire and respect cannot be negotiated out of someone by being agreeable. This is why some nice guys end up obsessed with being seen as moral, because morality becomes their shield against rejection. If I'm a good person, you're not allowed to leave. But people leave anyway, and then you call them shallow, or broken, or ungrateful, when the real wound is that your strategy failed. Most people stop here and defend themselves, and that's the biggest mistake, because the goal is not to shame you, it's to expose the pattern running your life. If this hit you, good, because it means you're finally close enough to the truth to change. Here's where it gets even worse. Because the nice guy pattern is not just a social habit, it's an addiction loop. Each time you avoid conflict, your brain rewards you with relief. And relief is addictive, because your nervous system mistakes temporary comfort for safety. You feel a spike of anxiety. You retreat into politeness. You smooth things over. And then you feel that warm exhale of, I survived, even if you just betrayed yourself. Over time, your brain learns that honesty equals danger, and performance equals safety. So you become a professional actor in your own relationships. And this is why you can read all the self-improvement books in the world and still stay stuck. Because your problem is not knowledge, it's avoidance reinforced by relief. Stay with me, because in a moment, I'm going to explain why this creates the exact opposite of what you want. Not peace, but disrespect. Not love, but quiet contempt. To understand the root, we have to go deeper than behavior and into archetype. Because Carl Jung would say, you're not just making choices, you're living inside a psychological pattern. In Jungian terms, the nice guy often overlaps with the Puer Aeternus, the eternal boy, because he wants a world without consequences, without conflict, without the painful weight of adulthood. He wants to be liked without risking dislike, loved without risking abandonment, and powerful without ever having to be the bad guy in someone's story. And behind that is usually a mother-comfort dynamic, not necessarily your biological mother, but the internal rule that says, if I'm pleasing, I'm safe, and if I'm displeasing, I'm in danger. This is how the devouring mother shows up in modern life. Comfort that protects you from pain while quietly preventing you from becoming a man. It can be the algorithm that numbs you, the relationship that lets you stay passive, the family system that rewards you for being easy, or the persona that makes you good at the cost of being real. And the price of that comfort is always the same. You trade your spine for approval and then wonder why nobody treats you like a man. Now let's talk about consequences, because this pattern doesn't just feel bad, it shapes your destiny. In dating, you attract people who like convenience more than character, because your lack of boundaries signals that you can be controlled by disappointment, guilt, and silent punishment. In friendships, you become the therapist, the helper, the reliable one, and then you watch other people choose someone else when it's time for real intimacy. In work, you get overloaded, underpaid, and underrecognized because you taught everyone that your time is free and your no is negotiable. And internally, you split in two, the smiling mask on the outside and the bitter, resentful shadow on the inside. That shadow is dangerous because it doesn't make you strong. It makes you passive-aggressive, manipulative, and emotionally unpredictable. So the harsh truth is this: the nice guy is not harmless. He is a man at war with himself, pretending to be gentle while quietly keeping score. Here's the turning point most people never reach. Real kindness has teeth because it comes from strength, not fear. The people you respect are not respected because they are loud. They are respected because they are clear, and clarity is what you've been avoiding. If you want to stop being used, you must become willing to be temporarily disliked, because boundaries are the price of self-respect. Now the solution, and it's simpler than you think, but it will challenge your identity. You don't need to become cruel. You need to become solid. Jung would call this developing the inner senex, the disciplined, grounded adult who can carry responsibility without collapsing into guilt or running into fantasy. And practically, it starts by building what we can call an internal father, a voice inside you that protects your future self, not your comfort in the next 30 seconds. The internal father interrupts the appeasing reflex and says, "Stop performing. Tell the truth, even while your body shakes." Because courage is a nervous system skill. Here is the first tool. Replace explanations with decisions. Because over-explaining is a request for permission, and you are not a child asking to exist. Instead of sorry, I'm just overwhelmed, I've got a lot going on, maybe another time, you say, I can't do that, and then you stop talking. Here is the second tool. If someone pushes your boundary, you don't debate it. You repeat it once, calmly, because repetition is how you teach people you are serious. And here is the third tool, the one that changes everything. When you feel guilty for setting a boundary, you treat guilt like weather, not a command. Because guilt is just your old conditioning trying to pull you back into the role. Now I'm going to give you a 24-hour challenge that will reveal whether you're actually nice or just afraid. In the next day, find one small moment where you would normally people please, and instead say one clean sentence. No, that doesn't work for me. Then watch what happens, because either the other person respects it, which means you were safe all along, or they punish you, which means you were never loved, you were being managed. If you made it this far, here's the final truth you can't unhear. Every time you trade honesty for approval, you teach people that you can be bought with discomfort. So stop calling it kindness, call it what it is, and choose a different life starting now. You're not nice, you're afraid, and it's costing you everything.